Yo te digo, ready, we can start.
Awesome. Well, hello everyone. Welcome to our Horizon Weekly Insider number 50. Today is July 23rd, and happy Thursday to you all. Please remember that this call is being recorded. We are live on YouTube now, and it's going to be available in our Horizon podcast for you to check out later. Please also remember to be asking your questions on Menti so we can have our good Q&A session at the end. I'll pass the word now to Luca to give us the engineering updates.
Hi all, thank you Angie. So last week it was the day after beta release, and Alberto couldn't attend the meeting unfortunately, so I thought it might be worth to start today also with his post-beta message before we go on describing the next activities. So Alberto, would you like to join me and maybe say something related to beta before we move on?
Oh, yeah, sure, Luca. Okay, first of all, this has been a very long journey. We have been able to develop the first completely decentralized and fully customizable sidechain system. So, this for us was a very huge milestone because the beta release included many of the main features of the whole Zendu protocol. So, and what does this mean? This means that the Zendu beta package currently allows and implements the full cross-chain transfer protocol that, for example, allows you to declare a sidechain, send coins to a sidechain, receive coins from the sidechain. But moreover, from the sidechain perspective, we have also released a full implementation of a sidechain node that include the consensus, for example, but also the main functionality that are needed within the sidechain. So a developer now can use our SDK and will have the needed interfaces for customizing a blockchain application. And so on the sidechain side, it will be very easy from the sidechain, from the developer perspective, to add his logic, to add his data, and let me say, package a version of the sidechain node that will be able to forge blocks. And implementing the basic functionalities like transferring coins within the sidechain, and at the end of the epoch, being able to produce the certificate with also the ZK Snark certificate that will allow the transfers of coins from the sidechain to the main chain. What we are doing to making it even more, let me say, clear and easy to use for a developer, we are currently working on car registry application. So we are doing what will be, for example, the work that has to be done by an external developer that wants to use our SDK. And this is a crucial step because, allow us to test what we did and see and make and see if the interfaces that we created are the more, usable as possible. And moreover, creating a real world, an example, a real world example will make it even more clear for someone else that want to approach our SDK. So, and what this, for example, this car registry will do. This car registry will allow you to sell a car, put a sell order, and obviously put buy order. And transfer the ownership of a car as you would expect, from a car registry application. But these will be on a real decentralized blockchain application. So you will have the whole history of the car being proved by a valid history in a blockchain, style. So we have almost finished this development. So in the next weeks we are going to publish this, and we hope that this will be very useful for developers for trying to understand how they can approach the SDK and build on top of it very cool applications. Okay, and this is beta. Okay, but we have been also already moving forward beta, and as Luca just mentioned, the last week we were in Albania having a meeting going into details about what will be the next steps in the development. So we covered another big part of the protocol that we are going to approach in the next month, that is the incentives part. And this is a key point, because how is designed the system of redistributing the fees inside the sidechain will really make the system fully decentralized, even when we are going to create the full proof of the history of the sidechain. So just a couple of words about this. So in the next phase, we are going to create a recursive proof, and we're talking about ZK snark proofs, of a valid history on the sidechain side. And so this will be a cryptographic proof that the sidechain state is correct. So we have no trusted party saying to mainchain that everything was correct. We have just a cryptographic proof that validated the whole history on the sidechain. The epoch, but let's say the whole history. So on the sidechain side, we have to create these zero knowledge proofs, and this is some work that has to be done. And so who is going to do this work? We cannot rely on some entity that is doing it. We have to create a proper market, a proper system that incentivize people to join this proof creation mechanism. So, and this is just an example of one kind of work that is needed on the sidechain side that we should somehow reward. So the main goal of the meeting that we had just had is how we create such a market, how we reward the actors that has to do some job on the sidechain side. So I just mentioned the provers. There will be also a certificate submitter, that is another entity that once the epoch is finished has to collect all the withdrawal requests. Transfer of requests from sidechain to mainchain. I have to collect them and send these to the mainchain. So even this actor has to be rewarded. But moreover, there will be obviously block forgers. So all this set of actors should be, rewarded with an amount that we cannot fix this amount. This should be the amount that they're going to be rewarded should be a sort of the result of a sort of a bid that they have to compete each other. So because we want the transaction fees on the sidechain to be as low as possible, and this is only possible if we design a system that is really capable to put them in competition. At that point, we will have the lowest fees as possible. So I'm quite satisfied about the result that we achieved. I think that we identified, let me say, different strategy and very effective strategy to reward all the actors and make them compete to produce the result at the lowest price as possible. Obviously, this will result in also a possibility of, let me say, an additional income for these actors. So, just to mention, and probably was mentioned, I don't remember, some weeks ago, we are even planning to use GPUs to speed up even the proof creation and increase the transaction throughput on the sidechain side. So there will be even the possibility for GPU owners to do this. So this was the first step, and then now we're working on a document that formalize what we discussed. And then we're going to let me say split this into let me say more small tasks, and we will be working on that. Okay, and this is about the incentive schemes, and maybe, and I think that we are also going to write a paper that probably will be published that will, let me say, with a formal definition on all these aspects. Okay, obviously we are also working on other post-beta tasks, and one of the other big topic we are focusing on is how to improve proof performances. So we have been putting a lot of effort here. The positive thing is that, I mean, we're not alone. There are a couple of other projects that are working on it, and so. But I think that for the numbers that we identified so far, we can achieve already a good throughput on the sidechain side, and being able, in any case, to produce a cryptographic proof for a whole epoch. So, I mean, this is high level where we are and where we're going in the nearby future. That's all, Luca.
Well, thank you, Alberto. That was great. For a moment, I saw Rob's mic open. I don't know if you wanted to comment on anything.
Yeah, thanks, Luca. I was actually going to interject about the GPU opportunities and the potential marketplace we can create there, but Alberto beat me to it. So, I mean, let me just recap my thoughts here. Is creating a decentralized ecosystem is very hard, and one where you have to induce a whole bunch of different actors to take the decisions that ultimately benefit the ecosystem. And the incentive scheme here, and that's why the incentive scheme is so important. And what's really cool about this is thinking through what types of new marketplaces we can create and what types of new income earning opportunities for those in our ecosystem we can create. And this, you know, in taken together, really strengthens everything that we're doing. So thanks, Alberto, for running through the detail.
Awesome. Thank you, Rob. And thank you again, Alberto. That's all from engineering. See you later for related questions. Back to you, Angie.
Thank you, Luca and Alberto. Let's continue with Alan to give us the node updates.
Hi, everybody. My update's a little bit more mundane than that exciting discussion there. From the tracking system, we're going to be adjusting the earning period by about 22 blocks a day for the next week. Our end start time of the earning periods has drifted off because the block interval has increased a little bit, and usually we shoot for a 1 a.m. UTC. So what we're going to do next week is reduce it by about 22 blocks for about 7 days to get back 5.5 hours of time shoot for the 1 a.m. target. And then after that, we'll adjust the block interval, or the blocks per earning period, to about 570 blocks. There'll be a notice in Discord announcements, the node announcements, and we'll keep you updated on that. That's all I have at the moment. Thank you, Angie.
Thank you, Alan. Let's continue with Spencer to give us the help desk updates.
Happy Thursday, fellow Horizen enthusiasts. The help desk status for today, July 23, 2020. We're proud that our 7-day customer satisfaction rating is perfect. Customer satisfaction over the last 7 days is 5 out of 5 on 10 user reviews. We had 64.8% of the tickets faucet-based for a total of 46, 35.2% of tickets were for other issues. Most prominent faucet issues, nothing really new this week. Most common issue was VPN use. We have to limit VPN use on the faucet. It's proven to be an abuse vector. Second most common questions about faucet payments. Most common Sphere by Horizen issue. Again, seed recovery of the wallet. Issues encountered this week were easily handled. Nothing new on our radar. This concludes the report from the help desk.
Wait, Spencer, did you say the tickets were perfect?
Perfect. Yes, perfect.
Just thank you for clarifying.
It goes to an old Saturday Night Live skit about a certain religious rite being performed in the back of a Crown Victoria. But that might be before some people's time.
Awesome.
No comment.
Thank you, Spencer. Let's continue with Gustavo to give us the UX updates.
Hey everyone, happy Thursday. So quick update on our end. So this week we went live with our news portal, and basically what we did a single place where we aggregate all the news related to Zen, even from third-party media. It looks awesome, so it was an excellent job from Linda, Lucy, and Tuan. I'll leave the URL here so you can all check. And on another hand, we also had minor web dev tests, which are not worth to mention here. And the development side on the faucet, we finished coding the new referral tiered system that's going to replace our current referral system for the faucet. So right now it's on test, and hopefully we can get it live on the next upcoming weeks. And this is super exciting because after we implement this change, the faucet is going to have 40 years of referral. So it's exciting for everyone. And that's all for now.
Thank you, Gustavo. Let's continue with Rowan to give us the video updates.
Good morning, good afternoon, everyone. Okay, so huge amount going on in the ops and BD side. Right now, we have kind of 4 main focus areas. First one being developer shop outreach, and part of that project is a complete revamp of the documentation we use when we're approaching potential partners. So we're making 3 new sets of kind of sales documentation. We're in the final stages of putting these together. And this is just a refresh of documentation that we've had previously, but really important that we make sure that it's really targeted specifically at the people we're aiming to attract. And right now that is developers. So we've got a executive summary, which is going to be going alongside initial intros. We're then polishing up a much more detailed technical presentation that goes through exactly what makes the Zendu sidechain protocol different and why they should stand up and take notice. And then lastly, we have a kind of comparison sheet, which starts really comparing at a technical level all the different features and the kind of pros and cons between a variety of different solutions. And we're trying to make that as unbiased and kind of neutral as possible so that it's taken really seriously and it is just a brutally honest overview of what's available out there. Moving on to more specific dev shop outreach. We have already reached out to the top 25 blockchain development houses. Initial feedback has been fantastic across the board. One thing that is, I guess, not so much surprising, but actually paints quite a positive picture in a way, is that a lot of the more popular dev shops haven't had much exposure to Horizen in the past, and that gives us a huge opportunity. That means that we can really get in there, we can explain what the technology is, and we can bring them up to speed quite quickly. and we can quite quickly build allies that can essentially become remote sales agents for the technology that we're building. So right now we're in the kind of contract review phase with 3 of the top blockchain dev houses. And the idea would be to add the Zendoo sidechain protocol as a technology solution alongside the products that are already offering. So alongside things like Polkadot, Ethereum, Hyperledger, and all the usual suspects. So making some really good progress there, and we'll provide some more specific updates in the coming days once we get these contracts finalized. The next big project for us at the moment is to capitalize upon a bit of a trend on the exchange side. As I'm sure most of you know, exchanges are frequently adding interest-bearing products, and they do this in 2 ways. They're either adding a proof of stake coin, and essentially the exchange is taking care of the work for you and paying out rewards, or they're adding coins that have nodes, or alternatively, they're also lending for margin traders and then using the returns to pay out to individual users. So our aim here is to have Horizen added as a interest-bearing asset alongside these products, where the exchange runs nodes for the users, and the users can then pitch their Zen towards a product and earn a nice fixed return for it. So we have so far Huobi on board, publicly announced, and we have 2 other exchanges that are in the midst of doing or setting up the infrastructure required to really make that happen. And as Alan and Chronic have mentioned previously, we are making a few changes to our node tracking system, really to make that much more approachable for the larger institutions and exchanges to jump in and get involved in that system. Last thing that we're doing, we've just kicked off a project to support engineering in the Horizen developer environment and also the early adopter program. And this is basically a community creation type effort. So we're looking to try and support in different ways across college, uni meetups, hackathons, webinars, things of that nature. Early days there, but keep posted for sure. And that's pretty much it from me at the moment. Just very quickly on the operations side, engagement survey results will be getting compiled by Leslie in the coming days, and we'll have some feedback to provide on that in due course. Yeah, I think that's it from me. I'll pass over to Vano if you want to jump in with an update from your side.
Thanks, Rowan. Hello, everyone. So Whitebit listing is around the corner, and we are now in cooperation with them to schedule some marketing activities to introduce each other in our respective communities. And to sum up, for our community, we are getting USDT and Russian ruble peers for the start. And we hope this listing will make it easier, particularly for our Eastern European community, to onboard to Zen ecosystem. And also, Whitebit is interested to explore our integration further and deeper, so we can expect more from that listing as well. And that's all I can share publicly today. Back to you, Angie.
Awesome. Thank you, guys. Let's continue now with Lucy to give us the marketing updates.
Hello, everyone. Happy Thursday. Gustavo beat me to the news of our newsroom launch. So really big shout out to Gustavo's team for building out the newsroom, and also Mac for from infrastructure for setting everything up on the back end. And then of course our graphic and UI designer Linda for the beautiful design as always. So all the cool website releases and updates you've seen, especially something like a newsroom involves a lot of moving pieces. So really, truly, another great teamwork. So thank you, guys. So our newsroom is the source for news about Horizen. It provides the latest stories and news regarding our products, people, and business activities, as well as news coverage about Horizen from other media sources. So it's also a media source for press and influencers. It gives us the chance to increase the range of our stories or news across social media and also visibility in search results. It can really help us get the news coverage by providing everything a news reporter may need in one place. So this newsroom replaces our blog site. Please check it out at horizen.global/news. And if you have any feedback, we always welcome them. And our BD director, Rowan, did an interview with social media influencer Crypto Rich yesterday. So they discussed our latest developments and Zendoo in detail, and just the enormous marketplace opportunities Zendoo is bringing for the Horizen ecosystem and all the stakeholders in it. So we will share the video on our social media once it's published. So stay tuned. And this is a reminder. So we are rewarding people to launch a sidechain on Horizen. Okay. So our developer platform HDE has a bounty for creating a sidechain. So the first 10 sidechains will be rewarded with 15 Zen. So there are other bounties on HDE as well, both sidechain and non-sidechain related. So currently we have 7 live bounties with a total of 260 Zen. So if you're a developer, please check them out. And if you're not, you can also help us get more exposure by sharing the bounties on social media. And lastly, congratulations to 3 community members who won our last giveaway. And thank you everyone who helped promote our Zendu milestone, the preview release. So, but if you didn't win last time, it's okay. We are hosting another giveaway right now. So this time you can win an even higher prize. This is to celebrate the Zendu release, the beta release, and also to thank our community for supporting us. We have also extended our swag store sale to end of this month. So you can use the code JulyShield to get a 15% off store-wide. That's it. That's it from me. Back to you, Angie.
Thank you, Lucy. Great updates. Let's continue with Jonathan to give us the growth updates.
Hey, everybody. Happy Thursday. Want to start off by highlighting our really awesome upwards climbing FCAS score. So for user activity, we're currently at a 910, which overall is an S. Broken down into project utilization, which is literally almost off the charts. And then network activity, which will hopefully soon be an S as well. In terms of overall FCAS, Horizen is now number 8. I think that's probably the highest we've ever been. I'm not 100% sure, but I think we were at 9 before. I don't know if we were ever at 8. So that's really exciting. Wanted to also highlight a little bit about the game situation that we have with Blocks Jump. It's progressing really well. So first of all, we've released an Android game. Most people on this call already know about that. It's the first game that has Zen integrated. So you're able to play the game, collect in-app coins, and actually convert them to Zen in a very easy process. We'll be releasing that same game in iOS. And also, even more excitingly, we'll be putting that onto the Faucet as a web game. So we had a great call with the Blocks Jump team on Tuesday. They've already created the web game, and now what we have to do is work on the flow to make sure that everything works well on the web, just like it does on the phone. So, for example, if you think about game mechanics, you have to assume a person doesn't always have a touch screen. And so how do you make the little guy jump from block to block if you can't touch the screen? So the game has to be adjusted to be able to use a mouse. So little things like that we have to test. We're also thinking about the reward structure. So in the web game, are rewards based on individual token accumulation like they are on your phone? Or will it be based on a leaderboard or both? And so these are kind of the questions that we're asking internally, which leads me to the next point is we're already starting to brainstorm a leaderboard structure because we have to think about how do we scale to multiple games. And we're very lucky because we're working with a game company that already has 13 games. But in my ideal world, we have 50 to 100 games that people can host and that anybody can choose games from any genre and play and hang out, earn some crypto, and chat with other gamers, etc. And lastly, I'm working with Gustavo to figure out how do we do this in a way that's not overwhelming and that still has a nice user flow. So Gustavo and I brainstorm, but of course we use all of the knowledge we have from Lucy and Linda being great designers and UX people themselves. And lastly, we have to think about mobile users. So about 50% of our traffic is mobile. And so we're constantly brainstorming and having sessions on how do we make sure that mobile users can also participate in everything that we do on the faucet. And it's a tricky thing, especially as we add 50 to 100 games. And that's it for me. Thank you.
Thank you, Jonathan. Let's continue with Rosario for product and engineering updates.
Everyone, Rosario here. So we've entered a new phase in our project with our sidechain system. Our Zendu is a really big deal. And right now, with this new phase that we've entered, we are focusing on developer outreach. So this is a big undertaking, and you've heard Rowan mention he's taking this, participating. There's also Lucy from the marketing side, the UX team. So it's a very large undertaking that all of us are marching towards. So with this new focus of developer community building, we have, of course, our early adopter program, KEEP, and the Horizen developer environment, HDE. And those are our building blocks to start this developer outreach effort. So we have a pipeline coming through with a car registry that provides the examples on how to extend the SDK. We'll have a first draft of documentation, some tech videos, a webinar series, and then a community competition, a hackathon to build on Horizen. And all this is coming in the next few months. I believe we are planning to kick off that community competition in October. So we have still some steps to get us to the point where we can host this hackathon. So that's really exciting and upcoming. The SDK documentation is a project in itself. Documentation is a huge undertaking, and we will be refining it iteratively. We have a two-prong approach for this. So we have the SDK team right now focused on creating the content. So one of the team members is actually coding the car registry, and then another team member is helping, or a couple of the two other team members helping write the documentation. Then we have a developer that has not been involved in the SDK development, going through the documentation himself and highlighting missing pieces of the within the documentation. Once we have this first draft, we will make it widely available. So we just want to make sure that we at least have a successful first pass and that all the obvious steps are there. But even when we publish this in the next week or so, it will not be final. It will be an ongoing effort to refine it. Then the second prong that I mentioned is on the editing, formatting, and selecting a platform that will host the documentation. Right now, it looks like we're going to be using Markdown and Read the Docs to host the application. And as I mentioned, I apologize for the background noise. I have my baby is knocking on my door. And that's it. So we also have a process that we'll be publishing for hosting community repositories. So we have our very own P-Stu that has done some work, and he will be our test case on how we create this new process so that we can have any developer out there that would like to work on a specific library or specific separate product on our repository, and that will be published in the next few days. So that is it. Thank you.
Thank you, Rosario. Rolf, would you like to add any comments or updates?
Yeah, thanks, Angie. Y'all know that one of the things I like to do is look ahead to where we're going and think about the implications of our roadmap and talk about things that are happening in the future that we're working towards. So kind of a strategy discussion. And with some of these new things, it can take a little while to wrap your head around it and realize both the implications and the opportunities. So this is leveraging off what Alberto said earlier, that each sidechain is like a new crypto project. People don't have to there's less work to be done on the exchange, the wallet, and the system side of things, but just as much work on other things like a full crypto project. So when you think about software, there's the front end, so who creates it, who updates it, who uses it, what the front end is running on. And on the back end, again, who creates it, who operates it, what it's running on, who keeps it updated. So for each of these sidechain projects that we'll create and that other people will create, there's going to be a purpose for the chain. So why is it even in existence? the intended users, and then the intended functionality, both at the initial functionality and then the ongoing, improved functionality. So you get a minimum viable product out there that can do things, and then you build it and improve it based upon the feedback from users and opportunities that come up after developing the minimum viable project. So you also have to think about who is going to improve it and maintain it long term, the funding for the developers and maintainers, and the funding for people to operate it. And that's what Alberto was explaining is built into the system. And of course, Alberto and anybody else, correct me if I'm wrong on the particulars, but the sidechain model that Horizen's developed has this worked in because there is funding for developers and maintainers that's available when sidechain transfers are done. And there's funding for people to run the block forgers, which is server applications, because it can be set up like a proof of stake model. So for each sidechain application, and they don't have to be developed by Horizen, they can be developed by anybody, there's a lot of opportunity for participation. So for system administrators, and participation is good because it grows our community, it gets the word out there, it gets more and more people using it. It's like a snowball rolling down a hill. So for system administrators, obviously running block forger nodes, like they're running Zen nodes now, but block forger nodes. So supporters, there can be, so for all the people that are working with with node hosting services now, there can be block forging hosting services so people can stake Zen in the sidechain proof of stake system. That's an opportunity for them to show their support for the system and get paid for funding the proof of stake. For software developers, there's creating the new sidechain applications, front-end, back-end testing, reporting, and then certainly marketing, artists, influencers, meme creators. For each of these new sidechains, you have to get people to use them. So it's a full-up project. So there's a ton of opportunity for each sidechain application. And so just like what people are seeing right now in DeFi with Ethereum, in some cases with specific sidechain applications, people are going to want to take Zen from their exchange and have it hosted with a block forging service provider to stake Zen on that specific sidechain. So there's going to be a lot of opportunities in the sidechain ecosystem when it goes into production on the main chain, and savvy developers are going to start working to develop and test their new sidechain applications on the sidechain testnet as soon as possible, so when we go live on the main chain, they'll be able to launch them right away. That's what I got. Looking forward to help answering questions at the end. Thanks, Angie.
And Rolf, that was a great point. Yeah, before I forgot to mention in the actor list, the sidechain developer. If it's okay, I spend just a couple of words on it. We also, in the model of the distribution of the fees, we also considering to have the possibility for the sidechain developer to have some reward from the fees that are collected on the sidechain side. So, what's behind it? If you're a developer that build an amazing sidechain that is so useful, so many people are using, has so much high transaction throughput, it's good for you. You will get some reward that is related to the usage of the sidechain. So in the whole schema of the incentives, we also took in consideration this possibility of having a reward for the developer that is that could be based. Even other kind of rules can be implemented, but could be based on the usage. On the sidechain side, and we believe that this will also incentivize developer to build always better application, because they will have the possibility to have some reward for what they did. So this was what was behind it, and Rolf, yes, that was a great point. Thank you.
Thanks, Alberto, for the clarification. I'm not really sure exactly how that reward for the developers work, but I'm sure we'll get that explained and figured out in another session.
Yeah,
Thanks.
sure. We will formalize it also in the document. Okay.
Great. Thank you, Rolf. And now let's welcome Rob for the final part and Q&A session.
Thank you, Angie, and excellent discussion. Guys, I absolutely love this. So the first thing I want to say is a huge congratulations here to the team and community. The fact that we're number 8 on FCAS right now is absolutely fantastic. You can see the machine we built here is just grinding forward. Some days we have just really fun, groundbreaking updates, and other days we just have the mundane, where we're just moving forward day by day and improving what we do on the margin. And it takes a combination of all of this that leads to huge outcomes. And speaking about community members and what some of my favorite comments, I'm going to be a little cheesy here, guys. I'm sorry, but I want to just read to you guys a few quotes from some community members when we release Zendu. So one comes from John in our community. It says, the uniqueness of the sidechain model is going to send waves through the industry. This goes far beyond DeFi. This is taking a blockchain and turning it into a scalable, lasting model that follows the fundamentals of good software development. And the quote goes on a little bit more if you guys can find it. I tweeted it as well. I really loved it. And a comment to that tweet was equally as interesting, was if Satoshi designed a Bitcoin sidechain system, it would be the Horizen way. Permissionless, decentralized, and privacy enabled. So guys, I love the comments, and it just shows that those who are following this project get it. And you can see where we're going here. It is something that opens up the system for being massively more useful. And I also had heard a good quote from the community on this call was, Horizen, the privacy-focused DeFi ecosystem. I love it. So things are really coming together. And how they're coming together now, since we've finally released this, the big innovation that we've been working on for years, and we're literally a week into the beta, from the 15th of July when we released it. You're going to see a lot of activity going around it. But where we're focusing now, specifically where we're focusing is this huge effort in developer community building, making the tools easier, talking big discussions here about documentation, making the tools more intuitive, and ultimately just better, more useful for developers. Things like the car registry or the Lambo registry are forthcoming. And by forthcoming, I mean expect them in a week or so. And now we're turning basically an obsession to documentation. So the Lambo registry is coming with the first set of documentation, but that's just the start. We're really going to become obsessive about this. We've already mapped out a 4-phase documentation approach. This is going to be an ongoing project indefinitely, really. And we're just going to keep making it better and more useful for people. We have other things like HDE, the Horizen Developer Environment. Guys, if you're a developer or you're friends with developers or you're even just supportive of this project, please get the word out. We have a bunch of bounties already listed there. This is our portal, really, with the community, so that we can start fostering useful, productive, curated development opportunities for people to just dive right in right away and start contributing. One of the tasks is you can literally get paid to launch a sidechain. So if you're a developer and you're interested in this technology, there's no reason not to go to HDE, register, download the SDK, deploy a sidechain, send us some proof, and get paid to do it. So ultimately, the way we do things here is we try to align incentives with the outcomes that we want. And right now, the outcome that we're driving for is getting utilization of the SDK and getting apps built on Zendu. So you're going to see a ton of effort there. Now, one thing that we scaled back our investment on over the last year, rightfully so, because we were in a bear market, and then also we were just in this period where we were doing heavy engineering on the back end, but that really wasn't public facing, and we didn't have the products yet available, but now we do. So now what we're going to start spending on again is public relations, PR, and more marketing activity. So we've been doing a ton of work, and those who are following this project certainly get it. But if you just were to sample a random crypto enthusiast across the industry, they probably don't know what we're doing. And that's a problem, but it's a problem that we can fix. And actually, we have a plan now to step up some significant investments in our marketing and PR. So more to come on those details, but it should be fun. And on that, the final note here, I just want to say, we've had a 3-year history as a project. We've had many ups and downs, most of them market related. We've had some, like 51% attack a couple of years ago. We've had just different challenges that we've constantly faced and overcome. So the way that we handle challenges, to me, is more important than just the random draw of facing those challenges. So what's really important is that we get better at what we do, and we have been. And this project, what we don't want to do is, because we've faced so much volatility in the past, we don't want to let that make us too too conservative, say, on trying new things. So what we're doing here with even just the example of spending more money on marketing and PR, we're going to be making a bunch of tactical experiments, a bunch of bets that are very targeted, where we have measured KPIs. We constantly tune what we're making these bets on based on the KPIs and performance that we get out of them. But we're not going to be afraid to try new things. And we're going to have a whole bunch of new things in the pipeline that we're going to roll out. Things like you see the newsroom, things like MLM built into Community Hub, things like incentivization on the HDE. To me, this is one of the most interesting things is we have a whole bunch of tasks out there with bounties, but it's not always obvious that developers from around the world will just find their way miraculously to the HDE. So incentivizing people to actually get the word out about this work is something that we're going to do. It's I think a very intuitive experiment that I expect big things from, quite frankly. But we're going to see a bunch of this. What I'll say to wrap up here is, because I guess the point that I was trying to drive at was we've had a lot of volatility in our past, and we have a lot of fun things, or a lot that we've accomplished despite that, and a lot in the pipeline that we want to do. So what we're doing on the margin with, say, like new spending and these investments, we want to be aggressive, but aggressive in the right ways, aggressive in ways that we can actually measure what we're investing in, measure results, and tune that. So if it's not working, we're going to quickly move on to something else, but we're not going to be afraid to try new things. So expect more fun in the coming weeks and the coming months, especially as we start getting the first wave of developers building the first wave of applications on Zendu. So I'll stop here. We can open it up to questions.
Awesome. So the first question is, when mobile wallet, would it get full privacy features like shielded, SendChat, etc.?
Mobile is something that we've been talking about for a while, and we have I don't know, a 90% solution already built, but we haven't released it yet. We haven't released it because we haven't had the time to actually turn our attention to QCing it. Now, I did have a very good conversation with Nate actually earlier this week about what we would want out of a mobile wallet, and I know different people have different ideas, but one version of a mobile that I find very interesting is one that actually focuses on the community building and focuses on facilitating people doing peer-to-peer stuff, like going out and launching a meetup and giving Zen to people in the meetup, making it really easy for participants in a meetup to quickly download the app and to get involved. Things like finding Zen merchants locally, or finding other crypto merchants and providing built-in incentives to convert those crypto merchants to accepting Zen. These are a whole bunch of ideas that just really resonate with me. And I know that others have different ideas for mobile. There's talk of shielded transactions in mobile. Realistically, we haven't actually started looking at that yet ourselves. I know that Zcash is making some progress there. So, there are other projects working on those things. For us right now, the focus really is on Zendu, and the Sphere work that's going into Zendu. The Sphere work that's going on now is really related to providing tools for developers and sidechain ecosystem.
Thank you, Rob. The second question is how to make sidechain walkthrough available.
I'm sorry, what was that, Angie? How to make sidechain what available?
How to make sidechain walkthrough available.
Walkthrough?
Yeah, I think people want to, developers want a walkthrough on how to create a new sidechain, how to, based upon the existing or the upcoming car registry sidechain, how to take that and use it and alter it to something else. That's my interpretation of the question.
Okay, no, well, that's great, because we're working on exactly that right now. So the car registry is all about that. So it's designed for developers to walk them through the process on how they would extend the SDK into their own application. And we're going to release a video tutorial on that, and then a whole bunch of how-to. So the first wave of documentation is really going to be how-to geared specifically to developers. Hopefully that's helpful. And of course, like Lucy's plugging here, the upcoming webinar. But we still need to schedule the date. It'll probably be the beginning of September.
Yeah, just make sure that you get onto the wait list for the invite, so you can sign up on our HEAP website. That's HEAP, HEAP.Horizen.global.
Great, thank you. And the last question says, any other sidechain app beyond the car registry?
anyone here jump in if you know something else. But for us, that's our main focus right now. So that's what we're building to provide the walkthrough for developers. But expect obviously a lot more as we kick off the competitions for developing sidechain applications. But for now, that's what we're doing. Now, I can give a little insight with Horizen Labs is working on a gaming sidechain with Zendu. So there will be more information about that as development progresses, but it's just kicking off.
Yeah, so we had a discussion about this yesterday. Talked with Rosario and Chronic, and I think the start of it is really going to be when we get the car registry sidechain going, because with that, through the Horizen developer environment and early access, we can encourage people to take that and basically fork it into a different sidechain to register different things. So that's the easiest thing to do. And then we're hoping that they'll do that, or hopefully we can incentivize them. And then we can encourage them to add features onto it. So once you are able to register something, then you say, okay, well, I want to prove that I own this. Sure, I put the VIN number in, but let me put a picture in. And then I want to be able to transfer it to somebody else. And then there's all sorts of other things that you might want to do with a registry of items. So those aren't necessarily things that the Horizen team would create, but by enabling the sidechain and having the video walkthrough and all the documentation, we can show people how to take this basic model and make it fit for what they want to do. And just like we talked about in the Hit 'em Where There Ain't, where we look for opportunities where there's not much competition, on the gaming side of things, there's going to be widespread opportunity to have sidechains that are focused on gaming, whether it's a lottery or simple games. And the really nice thing about this is that with each of these sidechain gaming things, we can have a block explorer that somebody will be able to write and show how the game is provably fair, which would be a big incentive for people that would do, I don't know, maybe they want to do video poker or something, but they can see through the entire blockchain where all the funds go and that it's a provably fair system, which I think would incentivize people. Again, that's not something that Horizen is going to develop, but there's going to be lots of opportunities for people that are that type of software and opportunity focused, that have the correct licenses and stay in compliance with the country that they're in and things like that. So I think I sort of see us more as the enabler of all these things. Here's the system. Here's how it works. Here's some examples. Here's the documentation. If you're a government or business and you want a professional support organization to customize this for you or implement it or tie it into your systems, Horizen Labs is available for that. And then the Horizen Zen Blockchain Foundation is more focused on applications for people all over the world that really provide the type of online services that people need but aren't able to get. That fits in more with our mission. Thanks.
Great. Well, those were the top 3 questions from today. I hope to see you all on our next Weekly Insider. Thank you all for being here. Just stay tuned. We have a lot of things coming, exciting and great times ahead. So thank you all for being here. I hope to see you guys very, very soon. Have a great rest of the day.
Thank you, everyone.
Thank you, everyone.
Thank you. Bye.
See you soon.
Bye.